My friends, hear me well. There comes a moment in every life when you must see beyond the image someone puts on and discern who they truly are. When no stage lights are glowing, when the audience has left, when the mask begins to slip. Because not every smile is honest, not every gentle word is real, and not every hand stretched out is there to lift you higher. Some extended only to drag you down. God never commanded you to trust blindly. He called you to walk in wisdom, to test the spirits, to judge by fruit, not by empty words. We live in a world that wears deception like perfume, pleasant at first scent, but toxic when breathed in too long. And the reason so many are wounded, so many betrayed, is because we judge surface instead of substance. We looked at the exterior and called it good, while the inside was rotting. But God does not judge by appearance. He examines the heart. And if you want to see someone's true nature, don't watch how they act when life is easy. Watch how they respond when kindness costs them something. Look when no one is watching. Look when the blessings run out. Then you will know. There are 5 things, 5 doors that will show you the soul behind the smile. If you want to protect your peace, your calling, your future, and your spirit, then ask God to open your eyes to these signs. The first, how they treat those who cannot benefit them. The second, how they handle power. The third, how they respond to correction. The fourth, how they treat you when you are no longer useful. And the fifth, how they speak about others when they are not present. Watch these 5 things and God will show you more than years of friendship ever could. Let me tell you the way someone treats those who have no wealth, no status, no position. It screams the truth of their character. You see, anybody can be polite to a king. Anybody can shake hands with someone in power. But watch how they speak to the waiter, the cleaner, the beggar. Because if their heart carries pride, it will eventually touch you too. They will flatter you now, but when your season of favor ends, the same mouth will condemn you. That's why God said He resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Do not align your destiny with people who change their tone based on someone's title. They are not loyal to truth. They are loyal to opportunity. And the day you no longer serve their purpose is the day their kindness dries up like a well in the desert. But those who fear God walk in the same love, whether they're standing before a king or a servant. Those are the ones who carry light. Those are the ones God trusts with favor. The second sign, how they handle power. Power doesn't corrupt a person, it exposes them. It draws out what was already hidden beneath the surface. Give a person authority, and you will see what their heart has always longed for. Will they lead with justice, or will they rule with cruelty? Will they be gentle or arrogant? Will they be fair, or will they silence every voice of disagreement? God watches this closely, for He raises leaders not to glorify themselves, but to serve the people. If someone becomes bitter, cruel, or prideful when placed in charge, know this: their soul is not aligned with God's will. For the higher God takes you, the lower you should go in humility. And if someone cannot lead with love, they are not worthy to lead at all. Trust is not earned through charisma. It is earned through character, through restraint, through mercy, through truth. You want to know who a person truly is? Don't watch how they act when they have nothing. Watch how they behave when they have control. The third sign, how they respond to correction. A righteous heart will tremble when truth is spoken, not rebel against it. But a proud spirit will defend, deny, and deceive. The Word of God says, "He who hates correction is stupid. Yes, that's the language God uses, because to reject truth is to reject growth. And if a person cannot handle being lovingly corrected, they will not be able to walk in unity, peace, or love. Look at their reaction. Do they listen and reflect, or do they rage and retaliate? Do they repent and realign, or do they twist and attack? Because how someone responds when you lovingly show them truth reveals whether they follow God or their ego. And listen, if someone gets angry every time you draw boundaries, they were never interested in loving you. Godly people are not allergic to accountability. They welcome it. They grow from it. They know it is God's way of sharpening their soul. The fourth sign, how they treat you when you are no longer useful, when your value to them changes. Does their love change too? Because true love is not built on convenience. It is not seasonal. It is not transactional. If someone disappears when your season of abundance ends, know this: they were never with you. They were with your benefits. But those who walk with God will not leave you when you're low. They will not mock your pain. They will not abandon you in your storm. Instead, they will stand beside you even when there is no spotlight. Watch closely, because the people who celebrate you in public may betray you in private. The ones who cheered when you rose may gossip when you fall. And the one who stood closest may be the one who wounds the deepest. That's why God allows certain losses, not to punish you, but to protect you. He removes people from your life, not out of cruelty, but out of mercy, because He heard conversations you didn't hear. He saw intentions you didn't see. And when God shows you someone's true character, believe it. And the fifth sign, how they speak about others when they are not in the room. If someone is constantly criticizing, mocking, and gossiping about people who cannot defend themselves, know this: they will do the same to you. The tongue is a weapon of the heart, and if a person finds pleasure in tearing others down, their soul is infected with pride. God hates gossip. He calls it wickedness. The same mouth that flatters you today may poison your reputation tomorrow. Don't align with slanderers. Don't entertain those who feast on rumors, because the one who loves to expose others is often hiding their own sin. God blesses those who protect, who cover, who build. The one who lifts others even when they are not present, that is the person whose heart is full of light. That is the kind of person you can trust in the dark. My friend, if you want to be wise, pray that God gives you discernment. Not paranoia, not suspicion, but spiritual vision, the ability to see what is unseen, because not everyone who walks with you is walking for you. Some are there only for the moment of favor. Some are only interested in what you offer, not in who you are. And when the winds change, they will flee. So stop being deceived by good looks and smooth talk. Stop judging character by charisma. Look at these 5 signs. Ask God to open your eyes. You don't need to search their phone. You don't need to test their loyalty with games. Just watch. Watch how they treat the lowly. Watch how they handle power. Watch how they react to correction. Watch how they treat you when they don't need you. Watch how they talk about others when they're not around. Because when God is preparing to take you higher, He will first teach you who to take with you and who to leave behind. Not because of hatred, not because of revenge, but because of wisdom. Peace is too expensive to share it with those who sow chaos. Destiny is too precious to entrust it to double minds, and your time is too short to waste it on those who walk in the shadows. The truth is, God will often expose what you refuse to see. He will remove what you are trying to hold, because your soul matters too much to Him. And every time He reveals someone's true character, He's not breaking your heart, He's revealing your purpose. He's shifting your circle. He's pruning your path. You ask for blessings, but blessings can't thrive in betrayal. You prayed for peace, but peace cannot grow in deception. You longed for favor, but favor flows through clean hands and loyal hearts. So don't fight the pruning. Don't resist the revealing. When someone shows you their true character, believe it. When God shows you, trust Him. He's not trying to hurt you. He's trying to protect you. Let go of the fake and make room for the divine. God is not mocked. He knows every motive, every hidden agenda, every double face, and in due time, He will bring truth to light. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase anyone. You don't have to beg for honesty. Just walk in truth. And those who walk with God will walk with you. And those who walk in darkness will flee from the light. Let God be your defender. Let God be your discerner. And He will surround you with those who are pure in heart, faithful in character, and holy in motive. Because at the end of the day, it's not about popularity. It's not about charm. It's not about followers or friends. It's about fruit. God looks for fruit, real fruit, the kind that lasts, the kind that blesses, the kind that reflects His nature. And when you learn to watch these 5 things, you will stop falling into the traps of deceit. You will walk in wisdom. You will guard your spirit, and you will walk with those who reflect the heart of God. Now hear this, and hear it with your spirit, not just your ears. There is no deception more dangerous than the one that wears the mask of goodness. The most dangerous people in your life may not be the loudest enemies, but the quiet pretenders. They sit at your table. They laugh at your jokes. They nod at your vision. But deep inside, they carry envy like a sword sharpened in secret. And God, in His infinite wisdom, will not let you walk blindly into betrayal. He will start revealing what was once hidden, not to hurt you, but to heal you from attaching your soul to what was never real. Let me ask you, have you ever felt something was off, but you couldn't explain it? A strange unease when someone smiled, a subtle resistance when you shared your dream. That was God whispering to your spirit, look deeper. That was not paranoia. That was protection. God speaks not always in thunder, but often in the quiet disturbance of your peace. You must learn to recognize it. You must learn to listen to the shift in your spirit when something doesn't align with the light. Do you understand how much God cares for you enough to expose what you refuse to confront, enough to pull you out of connections that only drained your soul? He is a guardian of your destiny, and before He takes you to higher places, He will inspect the loyalty of those surrounding you. He will not allow serpents to rise with you. That's why sometimes it feels like your circle is shrinking. It's not shrinking, it's being purified. God does not operate in confusion. He does not bless double-mindedness. So when He removes someone, do not try to reattach what God has cut off. The one who mocks you behind closed doors but praises you in public is a liar, not a friend. The one who uses your vulnerability to gain leverage is a manipulator, not a companion. And the one who cannot celebrate you without making it about themselves, mark it. That is not love. God is a God of clarity. And when He opens your eyes to see clearly, it is your responsibility to respond, not retreat back into blindness. Listen, many people confuse kindness with goodness. But kindness can be a performance. Goodness is proven in silence, in sacrifice, in seasons where there's nothing to gain. God sees through every act. He tests the heart. And when He gives you discernment, it is not a suggestion. It is a shield. He is not asking you to hate anyone, but to honor your calling enough to walk in truth. If someone gossips in front of you, they will gossip about you. If someone flatters you excessively, they are likely hiding their true intent. And if someone's character changes the moment pressure is applied, that wasn't growth you saw in them, it was a costume. God doesn't just reveal people when you ask Him. Sometimes He reveals people when you stop asking, when you're tired, when you're quiet, when your spirit is surrendered. And in those moments, He will show you the hidden motives behind the mask. There is a loneliness that comes with revelation. When God removes the faults, you will grieve. Not just the person, but the illusion, the image you had of them, the memories, the hopes. But let me tell you something. Better to walk alone with God than to walk with a crowd headed nowhere. Better to stand in the truth, though it stings, than to live in a fantasy that destroys your soul slowly. God is truth, and those who walk with Him must walk in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. The heart of God does not change. He is faithful. And His desire for you is not survival, but spiritual strength. And that strength is forged in moments of separation. It's forged when you choose to let go of toxic ties that your flesh wanted to keep. When you stop begging people to stay and start praising God for revealing who they are. When you stop trying to fix what God is tearing down. That is where clarity comes. That is where growth begins. That is where your soul starts to breathe again. Let me go deeper. Sometimes the people you are protecting are the very ones working against you. Sometimes the ones you defend in private are planning your downfall in secret. And God, in His mercy, will shake every false structure until only the real remains. That's why betrayal hurts. It's not just an act of treason, it's the destruction of illusion. But what you gain in return is priceless. You gain truth. You gain discernment. You gain alignment with God's will. Character is not revealed in compliments. It's revealed in conflict. It's not exposed when you're giving someone everything. It's exposed when you set limits. You want to know who loves you? Tell them no. Tell them not now. Tell them you can't be used anymore. And watch. Watch what changes. Watch how they withdraw. Watch how they twist the story. That's when you'll know. They didn't love you, they loved your obedience. They didn't love your soul, they loved your service. But when you love God more than the approval of people, you will no longer tolerate emotional parasites. God is not silent when it comes to protection. He speaks through disconnection. He speaks through red flags. He speaks through inattention. You prayed for peace, didn't you? Then stop chasing those who disturb it. You prayed for strength. Then stop entertaining weakness disguised as relationships. You asked for clarity. Then stop resisting the truth when it finally shows up. Allow God to finish the healing work He began. Let Him remove the infection. Let Him cleanse the very atmosphere around you. Often the greatest blessings arrive wrapped in heartbreak, because it's not only a person leaving, it's the weight of their presence, their control, their spiritual pollution. When God removes them, breathe deeply, give thanks. You didn't lose a friend, you lost a burden, and you overcame it. You chose God instead of ease. You chose truth instead of deception. You chose alignment with heaven instead of dependence on emotion. And for that, heaven celebrates. Many never step fully into their calling because they will not let go of what God already exposed. They cling from routine, from guilt, from fear of being left alone. But hear this clearly, you cannot be faithful to your destiny and to poison at the same time. One must destroy the other. And if you keep carrying what God commanded you to release, don't be shocked when the weight crushes you. Let go before it does. God is not playing games with your destiny. He wants you free, whole, alert, equipped. When God raises you up, He does not do it so you can fit in. He does it so you can stand apart. He does it so you can see what others can't see, so you can speak what others are too afraid to say, so you can walk in purity while others walk in compromise. This is not about arrogance. This is about assignment. You are called to walk in integrity even if it costs you every fake friend. You are called to be set apart even if it means standing alone. And in time, God will surround you with people whose hearts beat in rhythm with His, people who speak truth, who honor boundaries, who uplift your soul without draining it, people who love deeply, not strategically, people who protect your name even when you're not in the room. But before God sends them, He must test you with the counterfeit. He must see if you can recognize what is false. If you will choose truth when it's hard, if you will walk away from what you once begged, that is the refining fire. That is the place where discernment is born. So today, open your eyes. Not just your physical eyes, but your spiritual ones. Ask God to strip away every illusion, to expose every secret agenda, to silence every voice that speaks against your destiny. You don't need to fight in the flesh. Just walk in the light. The truth has its own power. God defends those who walk in righteousness. And in time, the masks will fall, the lies will crumble, the fate will scatter, and the truth will stand tall like a pillar that cannot be shaken. Because when you walk with God, you walk in a kingdom that cannot be manipulated, a light that cannot be dimmed, a truth that cannot be denied. Let that be your confidence. Let that be your shield. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to walk with God and let Him reveal what only He can. And now I ask you, how long will you continue giving your trust to those who have not earned it through honor? How many times will you place your peace into the hands of people who only handle it with care when it's convenient? This is not the time to be naive. This is not the season to walk with your spiritual eyes closed. When God gives you the ability to discern, He is handing you armor. He is giving you spiritual intel. He is showing you how to protect what He placed within you. Do not call everyone your friend simply because they stood beside you for a moment. Do not label someone as loyal just because they applauded your success. Loyalty is not measured in the noise of celebration, but in the silence of absence. When you fall, when you weep, when the light dims, who remains? That is where truth reveals itself. God is not interested in relationships that are built on convenience. He is purifying your life from the superficial, the self-serving, and the spiritually shallow. And hear me now. Discernment is not suspicion. It is clarity born in the secret place with God. It is not birthed out of fear, but out of deep trust in God's wisdom. Discernment allows you to see patterns when others only see people. It allows you to hear tones behind the words, to feel a shift in spirit that can't be explained by sight. It's a divine awareness that says, something here is not aligned with the light. That's God's whisper, friend. That's Him protecting you. You see, too often we are deceived by appearances, but God is not. God is not impressed with external beauty, eloquent speech, or grand gestures. He measures hearts. He weighs motives. He sees what cannot be posted or performed. And if we are truly walking with God, we must learn to measure people by the same scale, not by how they serve us in public, but by how they walk when no reward is guaranteed. Not by how loud they are, but by how consistent they remain when all glory fades. Look closely. People can mimic compassion, but they cannot fake consistency. They can mimic empathy, but they cannot replicate integrity. And when you walk in discernment, you'll stop being impressed with charisma. You'll stop being distracted by charm. You'll start valuing character, because character doesn't change with the seasons. Character doesn't vanish in hardship. Character stands firm when pressure comes. And that is the soil in which God plants favor. Let me speak directly to the one who's been wounded, the one who trusted and was betrayed, the one who gave everything and received silence in return. I tell you, God saw it. God recorded every tear. God measured every motive. And what you thought was a season of abandonment was a season of revelation. You didn't lose, it was revealed. And now you walk wiser. Now your vision is sharper. Now your ears are trained for truth. That is not weakness, that is God preparing you to walk in deeper authority. Do not allow bitterness to harden your spirit. Let wisdom rise instead. Let discernment become your companion. Let the fire refine you, not destroy you. Because when God allows exposure, He always intends elevation. When He removes what's fake, He makes room for what's ordained. But you must release your need to hold on to what He is calling you to let go of. Stop mourning over what was revealed. Start praising for what is being rebuilt. The path of discernment is not lonely. It is sacred. It is not cold. It is clear. When you walk with God, you may walk alone at times, but you are never abandoned. His light will guide you. His truth will guard you, and His hand will surround you. You must stop explaining your standards to those who benefit from your confusion. You must stop defending your distance to those who only grew close to devour your peace. Your boundaries are holy. Your discernment is divine, and your spirit belongs to God alone. You don't need everyone to understand your decisions when they are rooted in divine revelation. You don't need the approval of those who were never assigned to your destiny. What you need is the courage to obey what God shows you, to walk away when He reveals, to stand firm when others fall away, to honor His whisper over the noise of popular opinion. That is where your power lives. That is where your anointing grows. Understand this. Spiritual maturity is not how many scriptures you recite. It's how you treat people when there is nothing to gain. It's how you stay faithful to God's instruction when it conflicts with your emotion. It's how you choose alignment over attachment. You cannot walk in the power of God if you continue making room for what is draining you. You cannot carry holy fire while dining with spiritual thieves. God is cleansing your connections. He is severing what you are too afraid to cut. He is making you bold. He is giving you strength to say no, wisdom to walk away, and peace to remain silent when you are misunderstood. That is divine maturity. That is the walk of the spiritually awake. And listen, stop praying for peace while feeding relationships that provoke chaos. Stop asking God to elevate you while holding hands with people who are committed to keeping you small. Stop asking for light while entertaining those who thrive in the shadows. God is not confused. He cannot be mocked. If you truly want what He has for you, then you must release what He never sent to you. The deeper your calling, the stricter your circle. The higher your purpose, the smaller your crew. God doesn't allow clutter around consecration. And when He begins to raise your standard, it will offend those who refuse to rise. But let it offend. Let it shake. Let it break every unholy alliance. Because you were not created to fit in. You were created to stand out. You were not born to please everyone. You were chosen to obey God. And when you walk in that clarity, your vision sharpens, your path clears, and your soul breathes freely again. This is not about isolation. This is about sanctification, about separation for the sake of purpose, about choosing alignment with God's ways over approval from man. And the moment you stop compromising, the moment you stop lowering your light just to keep others comfortable, that's the moment God will release you into greater. You are not here to be admired. You are here to be refined. You are not called to blend in. You are called to illuminate. And that light, that truth, that wisdom, it comes from walking with God and allowing Him to open your eyes to what the world calls normal, but He calls poison. When God shows you someone's heart, believe Him. When He removes your comfort, thank Him. And when He whispers, "Not this one," obey Him. There is protection in obedience. There is blessing in surrender. There is destiny in discernment. Walk with God. Keep your spirit clean. Guard your peace. Watch those 5 things. Let the truth of who someone is be seen, not by what they say, but by what they do when nobody's looking. When correction is given, when power is in their hand, when you're no longer beneficial, and when others aren't in the room. And when you see the truth, do not deny it. Walk in it. Trust the one who reveals it. And know this, the path of wisdom is the path where God walks closely beside you, shielding your soul and guiding your every step, not by sight, but by spiritual fire. Let us go even deeper. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not being betrayed. It is refusing to learn from it. When God allows a betrayal, it is not to break your spirit, but to awaken your discernment. It is not just about who turned their back on you. It is about how God is sharpening your vision, strengthening your resolve, and maturing your soul. Because the deeper your purpose, the more precise your perception must be. Not everyone who walks with you deserves access to your heart, your dreams, or your vulnerability. And God, in His unmatched wisdom, will shake the ground beneath your relationships. So only what is rooted in truth can stand. When God starts shaking, let Him shake. When He starts separating, let Him separate. When He begins revealing hearts, don't turn your face away. Because some of the people you're trying to keep are the very ones slowing your spiritual progress. Some of the voices you're trusting are drowning out the voice of God. And some of the hands you're holding are leading you into delay, not destiny. The path you've been praying for is not blocked by the enemy. It's blocked by your refusal to release what God is trying to remove. Understand this, elevation requires purification. And every time God prepares to take you into a new season, He begins a new cleansing, not just of habits, but of hearts, not just of sin, but of surroundings. Because light cannot fellowship with darkness, and your calling cannot grow where dishonesty thrives. You must be willing to stand alone if standing alone is what allows you to walk fully with God. You must be willing to be misunderstood if being misunderstood means you are aligned with divine truth. God does not ask you to please people. He asks you to obey Him. And when obedience feels lonely, remember, God walks with those who walk in truth. He fights for those who refuse to compromise. He elevates those who purify their inner circle. This is why He said the way is narrow. The narrow path is not about religious rules. It's about focused obedience, about deliberate detachment from anything that dilutes your spiritual clarity. Stop measuring someone's loyalty by their history. Measure it by their consistency. Stop measuring someone's love by their words. Measure it by their actions when no one is watching. And stop measuring someone's value by how close they are. Measure it by how pure their intentions are. Sometimes the closest person to you is also the most dangerous. Not because they're loud, but because they know your weaknesses and use them silently. But God is never silent when it comes to protection. He will stir your spirit. He will unsettle your peace. He will block your efforts. And He will do all this not to frustrate you, but to redirect you. You may ask, but how can I trust? Again, the answer is not in trusting people blindly, it's in trusting God fully. He is not asking you to stop loving, He's asking you to love wisely, to love without idolizing, to love with discernment, to love without losing your boundaries. Trust must be tested, love must be guarded, and relationships must be filtered through God's wisdom. You are not being paranoid when you notice the little things. You're being protected. You are not being cold when you withhold access from those who dishonor your peace. You are being wise. You are not being unforgiving when you walk away from repeated patterns of betrayal. You are being aligned. Forgiveness does not require access. Healing does not require reunion. Peace does not require their approval. What you need is to obey God more than you fear rejection. There is a higher way to live, a way where God leads your relationships, not your loneliness, where your discernment is stronger than your desire for acceptance, where your spirit is no longer governed by emotional attachments, but by spiritual alignment. That is where freedom lives. That is where clarity flows. That is where you become untouchable, not by being distant, but by being deeply rooted in God's truth. Ask yourself, what am I allowing around me that God has already shown me is harmful? Who am I defending when God is trying to remove them? What am I tolerating that is suffocating my peace? These are not small questions. These are spiritual keys, because the moment you answer them honestly, the doors to greater clarity, favor, and growth will open. When someone shows you they cannot handle truth, believe them. When someone belittles your convictions, believe them. When someone grows distant after you draw a boundary, believe them. That is not the loss of love, that is the birth of truth. That is the mercy of God unveiling what your heart didn't want to admit. You may feel pain in the process, but peace will follow your obedience. And peace is a sign of God's presence. Now I speak to those of you who are clinging to familiar pain because it feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Let go. Let go of the need to fix everyone. Let go of the fear of being alone. Let go of the illusion that you need their permission to walk away. You don't. God is your source. God is your comfort. God is your protector. And God is the one who goes before you and prepares a place where your soul can thrive, not just survive. You're not obligated to remain in circles where gossip flows, where envy thrives, where manipulation is masked as concern. You don't owe your presence to anyone who disrespects your purpose. And you don't need to apologize for walking away from what God has already exposed. Let people think what they won't. Let them say what they will. What matters is what God has said. And when God gives you peace about leaving, don't look back. God will never ask you to stay loyal to dysfunction. He will never call you to fellowship with deception. He will never expect you to endure what He came to free you from. So when He reveals character, respond. When He exposes intentions, obey. When He whispers, "This is not your tribe," listen. That whisper may be the very thing that saves your destiny. And to the one who feels weary, God sees you. He sees the weight you've carried. He sees the nights you stayed silent to keep the peace. He sees the wounds from words spoken behind your back. He sees the betrayal, and He says, enough. Enough pretending. Enough carrying what was never yours. Enough watering relationships that never bore good fruit. It's time to align. It's time to walk in truth. It's time to choose what is eternal over what is emotional. God is not just trying to remove people. He is trying to reveal you, to show you what you allowed, to show you what you settled for, to show you how much higher you are always called to go. He is raising your standards not to punish you, but to bless you, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. You are not alone. You are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being set apart. And every pruning, every separation, every exposure is God preparing you for something greater than you've known. There comes a time in your spiritual journey where God no longer allows you to be blind to the patterns that are poisoning your peace. He will open your eyes not to destroy your faith in people, but to strengthen your dependence on Him alone. Because when your eyes are on people, your emotions will rise and fall with their behavior. But when your eyes are fixed on God, you gain an unshakable center, a stillness in your soul, that no betrayal, no lie, no rejection. God is not raising you to be fragile. He is not building you to be manipulated. He is not shaping you to live in confusion. He is grounding you in truth so that even when the ground shakes and the faces around you shift, your peace stands firm. Your spirit stands anchored. You are not meant to be tossed by every wind of emotion, every shift in loyalty, every flattering tongue or cold shoulder. You were designed by God to walk in divine discernment, led by convict. The more you grow, the more God reveals. And the more God reveals, the more you must choose. Will you continue to excuse behavior that God has exposed? Or will you walk in the wisdom you prayed for? Because what God reveals is never to shame. It is to protect. It is to awaken your soul to what it has tolerated for far too long. And if you keep choosing comfort over clarity, you will delay what God is trying to do in you and through you. There are people in your life who are assigned for only a season, but you've tried to make them permanent. And now you're wondering why your peace is disturbed, why your clarity is blurred, why your spirit feels heavy. It's because God has lifted His grace off that connection. He's already ended it in the spirit. You're just dragging it in the flesh. He has shown you enough. Stop asking for more proof. Stop hoping they'll change. If someone cannot honor your calling, your boundaries, your purity, they cannot walk with you into your next. And hear this loud and clear. Not everyone who walks away is your enemy. Some were sent by God to leave. Their exit was your deliverance. Their silence was your healing. Their rejection was your redirection. Stop mourning over closed doors that were never opened by God to begin with. What you thought was abandonment was actually alignment. God didn't allow them to stay because He heard the conversations they had about you when you weren't in the room. He saw the thoughts they carried in secret. And because you belonged to Him, He couldn't let you walk with wolves in sheep's clothing. Now you must walk forward, not with bitterness, but with boldness, not with resentment, but with revelation. Your discernment is not a burden, it is your blessing, your ability to see beyond appearances, to sense spiritual shifts, to detect what is not being said. That is God's gift to you. Honor it, use it, protect it, because the enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can just deceive you. If he can plant a counterfeit in your life, a sweet-talking, well-dressed distraction, and get you to attach your peace to it, then slowly but surely your purpose begins to decay. Not with a scream, but with a whisper. Not with a storm, but with a silence that starves your spirit. That's why God warns you before the disaster. That's why He sends a flicker of discomfort, a quiet check in your soul, a repeated sign in your path. He's not being harsh, He's being protective. Because when you are assigned to something great, you become a target for spiritual sabotage. And often the greatest attacks don't come from obvious enemies. They come from trusted voices with hidden motives. But here's the truth. You will never be deceived if you stay surrendered. When you let God lead every connection, every conversation, every opportunity, your path will be preserved. God is not a God of confusion. He is not a God of chaos. When something is from Him, it brings peace. Not perfection, but peace. Not ease, but alignment. If your spirit is constantly disturbed, if you feel drained after every interaction, that's not a maybe, that's a message. God is speaking. The question is, are you listening? Your peace is your compass. Your discernment is your defense. And your relationship with God is your source. When He is the center of your life, everything that is not aligned must fall away. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. That's not loss, that's liberation. And now, as you stand at the edge of clarity, take this truth and seal it deep within your spirit. God has already shown you everything you need to see. You are not waiting for another sign. You are not waiting for more evidence. What you are truly waiting for is the courage to respond to what God has already revealed. The people in your life, the patterns you've ignored, the subtle whispers in your soul, they were not random. They were divine signals, sacred nudges, and spiritual alarms echoing one message. Pay attention, guard your peace, walk in wisdom. There is no higher form of obedience than trusting God when it doesn't make sense. There is no greater sign of spiritual maturity than releasing what no longer carries His presence. And there is no deeper faith than believing that when God removes someone, He is making room for something better, for greater alignment, deeper peace, stronger protection, and divine purpose. So stop clinging to counterfeits. Stop watering what refuses to grow. Stop excusing what God has exposed. The same God who protected you in the past will preserve you in the future. He is not leading you to heartbreak. He is leading you to wholeness. And even if you must walk alone for a season, you will never walk without His presence. Even if every familiar voice falls silent, His voice will never fade. Even if every door closes, His door will stand open wide. Because God is not just the revealer of truth, He is the rewarder of those who walk in it. Let this be the season where you stop guessing and start discerning, where you stop pleasing and start obeying, where you stop tolerating and start aligning. Now is the time to take your stand and declare, this is where it ends. I choose what is true. I choose peace. I choose God. And when your choice is God, you will never be left in defeat. You will walk in light. You will walk in strength. You will walk in a covering so divine that no enemy, no betrayal, no lie can break through. So protect your heart, protect your circle, and protect the sacred purpose God has placed over your life. You are not fragile. You are not lost. You are chosen, and the Lord Himself walks beside you. Let what must crumble, crumble. Let who must leave, leave. And let God's presence fill the emptiness with what is pure, what is true, what is everlasting. You already know their nature. Now step into your calling steadfast, focused, fearless. For when God is your shepherd, His truth will always break chains and set you free. There comes a season in every life, in every soul's walk, when night seems endless and hope feels far away. When your prayers return only echoes and your heart wonders if God even heard. You have kept to the narrow road. You have borne the load. You have stood firm while others stumbled. And yet it may seem your breakthrough, your answer, your deliverance has been postponed. But listen with urgency. This is not delay from God. He is preparing. God is not deaf to you. He is arranging something far beyond what your mind can see. Even now, He is moving you from a season of waiting into an instant of sudden, unstoppable, undeniable victory. Listen close. What sounded like heaven's silence was the noise of divine building. God has been working behind the curtain. He has been positioning people, preparing openings, softening hearts, swinging doors wide, and aligning your steps with exactness. The waiting was not punishment, it was preparation. And just when the enemy thought to crush your hope, just when others gave up on you, just when you began to believe your season had passed, God steps in with mountain-moving power. He is changing the atmosphere. He is snapping chains. He is tearing down walls. And He is doing it suddenly. You see, God does not move according to your calendar. He's not bound by the ticking of your clock. One moment in His presence can reverse years of pain, delay, and struggle. One word from God can shake the earth and rearrange your destiny. And I tell you with boldness today, that word is coming. That shift is upon you. That miracle is near. God is getting ready to lift you from obscurity to influence, from rejection to recognition, from barrenness to fruitfulness. From what took others decades will happen for you in days. Not because of who you are, but because of who God is. God saw your private tears. He heard your prayers in the midnight hour. He watched you forgive when it hurt, remain silent when you could have fought back, and worship Him even when you didn't understand. That obedience did not go unnoticed. That faithfulness did not go unrewarded. God is a God of justice, and He repays. He repays with blessings that overflow. He repays with peace that passes understanding. He repays with sudden breakthroughs that defy logic. You've waited, you've wondered, but now God is shifting you into a place where waiting is replaced by winning. Don't you give up now. Don't you sit down in sorrow when the edge of your miracle is right in front of you. Don't let discouragement lie to you. Don't let delay define you. God never forgets His faithful ones. He never overlooks the heart that seeks Him. And when the time is right, not your time, but His time, He will make it happen. That is the promise. That is the power. That is the shift. And for those who have walked through fire, who have survived the storm, who have stood alone and still chosen to trust, God has reserved a sudden victory that will leave every doubter speechless. There are moments in history when God moves swiftly, shaking kingdoms, altering destinies, lifting up the lowly and bringing down the proud. And I declare to you now, you are standing at the edge of one of those moments. The same God who lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace in a single day is the God who is lifting you. The same God who parted seas for Moses, who rained manna from heaven, who shut the mouths of lions for Daniel, that same God is alive, active, and moving in your favor. And when God moves, nothing can stop Him. You don't need the approval of man. You don't need the applause of people. You need only the hand of God. And when He decides to shift you from waiting into victory, no demon, no enemy, no betrayal, no limitation can stand in the way. The delay has expired. The struggle has served its purpose. The lesson has been learned. And now the season is changing. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being elevated not by manipulation, not by connection, but by the power of the one who sees all and knows all. God's timing is precise. You may think you've been overlooked, but God has been hiding you for the right moment. You were not rejected. You were protected. What you thought was a setback was a setup, and now with divine acceleration, He is bringing every piece together. He is taking what was broken and making it whole. He is taking what was delayed and making it swift. He is taking what was denied, what once was out of reach, will soon be in your hand. But listen, this is not a time to shrink back in doubt. This is a time to rise up in faith. Your posture must match the promise. Walk like it's already done. Speak like the doors are already open. Pray like the walls are already falling. Worship like the breakthrough is already here. Because when God decides it's time, no force in heaven or earth can hold Him back. He is not a man that He should lie. He is not slow in keeping His word. He does not forget the cry of the righteous. The enemy wanted to exhaust you in the waiting. He wanted to poison your heart with bitterness. He wanted to drain your strength with doubt. But you held on. You stayed standing. You kept believing. And now God is about to honor that faith in front of those who said it was foolish. He is about to show the world that those who trust in Him will never be put to shame. He is about to open doors that no man can shut, and shut doors that no man can open. This is the shift. This is the moment. This is the movement of God. I tell you, victory is not just coming, it is coming suddenly. It will come so fast. It will confuse your enemies. It will come so powerfully. It will silence every lie. It will come so completely. It will redeem every loss. And when it comes, it will be evident to all that only God could have done this. You will not have to fight for it. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to explain it. God will do it in such a way that His hand will be unmistakable. And when the victory comes, remember this: it was not your strength that brought you through, it was God's. It was not your connections that opened the way, it was God. It was not your wisdom that solved the problem, it was God. So give Him the glory, give Him the honor, give Him the praise, for He alone is worthy. He alone saw the beginning from the end. He alone wrote your story, and now He is bringing it into fulfillment. There is a sound in the Spirit, a sound of chains breaking, a sound of doors opening, a sound of the dry bones coming to life. It is the sound of a people who waited and now are walking into what God promised. It is the sound of transition, the sound of sudden glory, the sound of divine shift. It is here, it is now, and it is yours. Let your heart rise in expectation. Let your faith be stirred afresh. Let your soul rejoice, for the wait is over. What God is about to do for you will surpass what you imagine. He has been preparing you for this all along. What felt like a delay was divine training. God was building your patience, refining your character, strengthening your resolve. He was stripping away what couldn't go with you into the next season. He was separating you from wrong connections, pulling you from dangerous places, and teaching you how to depend on Him fully. Because the victory He is about to give you will require a new version of you, one that knows how to carry the weight of the blessing without being crushed by it. You are stepping into a season of divine reversal. Where there was lack, there will be abundance. Where there was sorrow, there will be joy. Where there was defeat, there will be triumph. God is turning the page. He is writing a new chapter, and it begins with victory. Not a small win, not a halfway breakthrough, but a full, miraculous, supernatural, undeniable victory that only He could bring. Stay faithful, stay humble, stay ready. Because when the moment comes, it will not be time to get ready, it will be time to walk through the door. And if you have stayed close to God in the waiting, you will recognize the shift when it happens. It will feel like a wind. It will feel like fire. It will feel like an eruption of joy in your spirit. And when it happens, walk boldly. Walk confidently. Walk thankfully, for what God is giving you is not temporary. It is eternal. What He is releasing is not fragile. It is fortified. What He is building cannot be torn down. You are not who you used to be. The waiting has changed you. The fire has refined you. The storms have matured you. And now you are ready. Ready to receive, ready to lead, ready to carry what God is placing in your hands. There will be no more delay. There will be no more going in circles. This is the hour. This is the shift. God is moving in your favor, and He is doing it suddenly. Stay with Him. Trust Him. Praise Him. Because you're not just going to witness the miracle, you're going to live in it. The God who has sustained you in the shadows is now positioning you for the spotlight of His glory. And when the world sees it, they won't understand how it happened, but you will know. You will know it was the hand of God all along. You must understand this. God does not prepare you for victory without first preparing the battlefield. Long before you arrive, He has already gone ahead of you. He has already dismantled the traps of the enemy, already scattered the plans of those who sought your downfall, already removed obstacles you didn't even know were there. You may have felt forgotten, but God was working while you were waiting. The silence was not absence, it was strategy. And now what seemed delayed will burst forth with divine speed because God is shifting you. Not gradually, not hesitantly, but suddenly. The shift of God is not always loud. Sometimes it begins in the quiet place, in the stillness of obedience, in the steady footsteps of someone who refused to quit. It doesn't always start with a trumpet blast or a sign in the heavens. Sometimes it starts in a whisper, a nudge in your spirit, a change in atmosphere, a divine unrest that says, "Get ready." And when God whispers, it shakes the foundations of the unseen realm. When He moves, the earth responds. When He decides to act, no man, no system, no delay can interfere. This is not just your season, this is your divine appointment. There are moments that define history, moments when God interrupts the normal and releases the supernatural. This is such a moment. And you, yes, you are not here by accident. You have been chosen for this hour. You have been prepared through trials, molded through hardship, refined through affliction. Every scar, every lesson, every sleepless night has brought you here. And now God is breathing new wind into your soul, new fire into your purpose, and new strength into your bones. The victory that is coming is not only for your benefit, it is for the glory of God. He is about to use your story to silence the mockers. He is about to use your testimony to lift the heads of those who are weary. Others will look at what He does in your life and realize that it was never about your qualifications, your connections, or your abilities. It was always about your submission. It was always about your willingness to trust, to yield, to obey, even when nothing made sense. Do not be surprised when the shift disrupts your routine. Do not be alarmed when old patterns begin to fall apart. When God prepares to elevate you, He often removes what cannot sustain you in the next level. He is severing ties to things that once comforted you, but would now compromise you. He is pruning what looks alive, but is bearing no fruit. Because sudden victory requires space, it demands a clearing. God is making room not just for the blessing, but for the weight of it, the responsibility of it, the influence that comes with it. People may not understand your discipline, your silence, your isolation, but God does. He has called you to stand apart because what He is doing in you is uncommon. You are not meant to blend in. You are not meant to follow the crowd. You are marked for something higher, something holier, something that cannot be achieved through shortcuts or compromise. You were not created for survival. You were created for dominion. And when God shifts you, it is not simply to relieve your suffering, it is to reveal His greatness through your life. The victory that is coming will not only restore what was lost, it will exceed it. God is a multiplier. He never just returns what the locusts have eaten. He gives double for your trouble, strength for your sorrow, clarity for your confusion. And when He restores, He does it so thoroughly that the pain of your past becomes the platform for His power. You will look back on what once broke you and see how God used it to build you. You will see how the nights you cried became the soil in which faith took root. You will see how every rejection was a redirection to a better door. But I must tell you this: do not let your heart become arrogant in the blessing. God is lifting you, but He is still the source. He is bringing the victory, but the victory is His, not yours. Stay grounded, stay grateful, stay focused. Remember the days when all you had was a prayer. Remember the moments when His presence was your only peace. The higher God takes you, the deeper your roots must grow in humility. The more He blesses you, the more you must return to Him in worship. And if you feel the pressure increasing, if the warfare intensifies before the breakthrough, rejoice. That is a sign you are closer than you think. The enemy does not fight what does not threaten him. The storm often rages fiercest right before the skies clear. The final push is often the hardest. But if you do not faint, if you do not let go, if you do not retreat, you will see the fullness of what God has promised. You will walk in the blessing that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Do not try to control the timing, trust it. Do not try to manipulate the outcome, surrender it. God is not moved by desperation. He is moved by faith. And faith says, even when I do not see the shift, I believe it's happening. Faith says, even when I do not understand the delay, I will not doubt the promise. Faith declares, though the vision tarries, I will wait for it will surely come, it will not delay. This is your hour to believe like never before. Speak life over your situation. Speak breakthrough over your family. Speak clarity over your future. God has given you authority not over people, not over circumstances, but over your response. Use your words as weapons. Let your praise become your shield. Let your trust become your sword. For every time you choose faith over fear, obedience over comfort, trust over control, you are aligning yourself with the divine shift God is releasing. Let no voice, no past mistake, no current trial convince you that your waiting was in vain. God wastes nothing. He uses every second. And the shift from waiting to victory is not just about speed, it's about supernatural alignment. Things that wouldn't move before will move now. People who wouldn't listen will suddenly hear. Walls that stood for years will collapse in an instant. Not because of your might, but because God said it is time. And when God says it is time, you do not need to force it. You just need to walk in it. Walk in the authority He's given you. Walk in the peace He's placed inside you. Walk in the confidence that what He starts, He finishes. There is no delay that can cancel your destiny when God says now. There is no opposition strong enough to block what He has ordained. If God is shifting you, He is also carrying, is making the crooked paths straight. He is leveling the mountains. He is illuminating the road you could not see before. Do not allow your past to define your future. God is not consulting your history to write your destiny. The opinions of man, the doubts of critics, the labels others placed on you, they carry no weight in the courts of heaven. God alone decides the outcome. And if He says you're going from waiting to victory, then that is your portion. You may not feel ready, you may not look qualified, but the power of God is not limited by your perception of yourself. He lifts the unlikely. He promotes the humble. He exalts the one who honors Him above all. So prepare yourself, not in fear, but in faith. Make room for the blessing. Clean out the old thinking. Release the bitterness. Let go of the people who cannot walk with you into this next place. Don't bring delay into your destiny. Don't bring doubt into your victory. What God is doing is too precious to be tainted by hesitation. Step boldly, step fully, and let your life be a declaration not of your strength, but of the greatness. This shift will bring alignment. It will bring restoration. It will bring recompense. You will see promises fulfilled that you nearly forgot. You will see opportunities emerge from places you never imagined. You will see favor descend like rain on dry land. And when you see it, you will remember it was all God, not luck, not chance, not coincidence, God, only God. Let your faith rise not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who does. Let your soul awaken to the truth that you are not stuck. You are being positioned, not abandoned, appointed, not delayed, developed. And when the shift happens, it will not just change your circumstances, it will change your identity. You will no longer be called the one who waits, but the one who overcomes. God is not done. He is not distant. He is closer than your next breath. And if you will listen with your spirit, you will hear it. You will feel it. The shift is here. It is sacred. It is swift. It is sure. Let your heart be steady. For the God who began the good work in you is now bringing it to completion with sudden victory. When God begins to shift a soul, He does not ask for permission. He initiates movement according to His divine will. And often that movement comes in silence. It begins when you're unaware. The stirring happens deep in the unseen layers of your life where only God has access. You may not even feel it at first, but suddenly what seemed immovable starts to tremble. What was locked begins to loosen. What was dry starts to flow. God is not asking if you are ready. He is declaring that you are. And when God declares a shift, nothing in existence can halt it. This shift is not only about receiving a victory, it's about becoming someone who can sustain it. God will never give you a blessing that will break you. He molds you through the waiting so that when the victory comes, you carry it with integrity. This shift requires more than excitement. It requires strength, purity of heart, and unwavering trust. God is not promoting the loudest voice, but the cleanest vessel. He is not interested in temporary applause. He is seeking those who are prepared to carry His favor with humility. That's why the waiting was long. That's why the fire was hot. Because what's coming is weighty. And only those who are deeply rooted in God can stand under the fullness of it. Do not envy those who seem to rise quickly. Speed without God is a setup for collapse. But when God lifts you, He builds your foundation first. And that foundation is trust. Radical, uncompromising trust in God alone. A trust that says, even if I don't understand the delay, I still believe the promise. A trust that stands still when fear says run. A trust that remains faithful when others walk away. This kind of trust cannot be taught in comfort. It is forged in the furnace of waiting. And now with that trust intact, with that foundation laid, God says, move forward, but not in your strength. Move forward in divine confidence, because this victory is not born of effort, it is born of obedience. It is the reward of hidden faith. It is the harvest of silent prayers. And it comes not when man commands it, but when God declares it. You are not rising because of favor from people. You are rising because of alignment with God. That is the highest favor a soul can carry. This victory will not look like the world's version of success. It may not come with flashing lights or public celebration, but it will come with peace. It will come with clarity. It will come with the undeniable assurance that you are exactly where God wants you to be. And in that place, whether it is a palace or a desert, you will know that the God who carried you through the waiting is now crowning you with triumph. Do not let your eyes deceive you. What seems quiet right now is actually the calm before acceleration. And when it begins, it will happen so quickly that even you will struggle to keep up. People will ask, how did this happen? How did everything shift overnight? And all you will be able to say is, God, because you didn't force it. You didn't beg for it. You didn't manipulate it. You waited, and God acted. But remember this, when God shifts you, He may remove people who cannot walk with you into the next season. That separation is not punishment, it's preservation. There are alliances that once served you but would now hinder you. There are voices that once encouraged you but now would confuse you. God is a jealous protector of purpose, and He will not allow anyone to dilute what He is about to release in your life. So don't mourn every goodbye. Don't resist every closed door. Sometimes the rejection is the redirection. Sometimes the silence is a sign that elevation is near. You were not meant to stay in the shadows forever. God did not form you in the quiet just to let you stay silent. He refined you privately so He could release you publicly. He hid you in the waiting so that you could be revealed in the right timing. And now the covering is being lifted. The limits are being broken. The old labels are being stripped away. What you thought was your ceiling will become your floor. He was an A person. Now you hid yourself. What you thought was your ceiling will become your floor. Held you back will now be behind you. You will not go forward timidly. You will go forward with fire, with clarity, with purpose, and with the unmistakable presence of God going before you. This victory isn't only for you, it's for those connected to you. Your obedience has created a ripple effect. Your consistency has opened the floodgates. There are people who will be blessed because you endured. There are lives that will change because you stayed faithful. What you carry is not just a testimony, it's a torch. And others will find their way through the light. God shines through you. Do not minimize your calling. Do not downplay your shift. The same God who raised kings out of shepherds and brought nations out of barren women is the same God who is now pointing to you and saying, "Rise." And when you rise, rise clean, rise focused, rise ready, because the temptation in victory is to forget the pain of the journey. But never forget the nights you cried out to God asking if He saw you. Never forget the moments when you almost gave up, but something in your soul whispered, "Hold on." That was God. He was there when no one else was. He was lifting you when no one else could. And now that He is shifting you, honor Him with every step. God does not bring you out of waiting so you can be admired. He brings you out so you can fulfill what He placed inside you. There is purpose attached to this shift. There are assignments connected to your elevation. So walk carefully, walk prayerfully, walk with the knowledge that every step forward is a step deeper into what God has called you to become. You are not being promoted to relax. You are being positioned to impact. The blessing comes with responsibility. And when you steward it well, more will be added because God does not waste oil. He only anoints those who are ready to pour. So lift your head, straighten your spine, fix your gaze. The waiting season is over. The fog is lifting. The ground is shifting. The heavens are open. And God is saying, now. Not tomorrow, not next year. Now walk like it, pray like it, speak like it, praise like it, because your life is about to look like what your faith has always believed. The long road is about to make sense. The tears are about to water the harvest. The delay is about to turn into destiny. And in that moment when it comes, remember this truth. It was God. It was always God. Every open door, every cleared path, every divine connection, every sudden breakthrough, it was not man. It was not chance. It was God moving, God restoring, God fulfilling His word. So give Him the glory, not only with your lips, but with your life. Let your actions honor Him. Let your life mirror His nature. Let your influence always lead back to Him. And when the story is told, may it never be said that your rise came through talent, ambition, or the approval of people. Let it be known that you were lifted by the hand of God, and that you remained there because you remained on your knees. You stayed in His purpose, and your heart stayed hungry for more of Him. The waiting season has ended. The doors are opening wide. The victory is unfolding, and the God who kept you hidden is now unveiling what He has been crafting all along. Every believer reaches a point where God asks not only for patience, but for transformation in the waiting. You did not merely endure those past seasons, you were being refined in them. God was shaping you even while others thought you were breaking down. They saw the outside, tired, weary, worn thin. But they could not see what God was doing within. Inside, God was constructing strength. He was instilling vision. He was building a foundation that could not be shaken. You thought you were being buried, but God was planting you. And now in His perfect time, He is bringing you out, not as you were, but as who He created you to be. This shift that God is unleashing is not casual, not accidental. It is surgical. It is deliberate. God is targeting the very areas in your life where you have experienced the deepest pain. And He is pouring oil on those wounds. The areas where you were the weakest will become the evidence of His greatest power. He is raising you up not because you are worthy, but because you were willing. You didn't give up when it got hard. You didn't walk away when it didn't make sense. You kept your eyes on God. You kept seeking. And that faith, that quiet persistence has reached heaven. The shift has begun. You see, God doesn't need to announce His plan to your critics. He doesn't need the approval of anyone to elevate you. When He decides it's time, He acts without permission. People may look at your past and say, "You're not qualified," but God looks at your faith and says, "You're chosen." The same hands that molded the mountains are now lifting your name into spaces you never imagined. God is not promoting your image. He is releasing your calling. He is not increasing your visibility for attention, but to fulfill a divine assignment that has been written over your life since before you took your first breath. And in this moment of divine transition, the enemy will do all he can to distract you. He will whisper lies into your spirit. He will stir confusion. He will try to make you question what you know God spoke to you. But don't you listen. Don't you dare second guess what God has confirmed in your soul. The warfare is not a sign of abandonment. It is confirmation that the shift is real. The opposition proves the magnitude of what's coming. The darkness intensifies before the dawn. But God is still God in the dark. God is still moving in silence. God is still leading when the path feels hidden. Lift your faith to a higher place. Do not pray from a place of fear. Pray from a place of authority. Speak not as one uncertain, but as one aligned with the will of the Almighty. Declare His promises back to Him with boldness. Stand on His word like a rock under your feet. For when God shifts a person, He also sharpens their voice. He puts a roar in the mouth of those who once wept in silence. And that roar is not pride, it is conviction. That voice is not arrogance, it is revelation. Because when you've seen what God can do in the silence, you speak differently in the season of sudden victory. This next season is going to require you to think differently, pray differently, and walk differently. You cannot enter the next dimension with old fears. You cannot carry the weights of yesterday into the open doors of tomorrow. God is telling you to release the residue of delay, to cast off the garments of mourning, to shake off the dust of hesitation. You are not a prisoner anymore. You are not a victim anymore. You are not stuck. You are being summoned. God is calling you into movement, into impact, into purpose. And His voice is louder than every limitation that ever tried to hold you back. Don't look for validation, look for confirmation. God doesn't always validate your process to those around you, but He will confirm it in your spirit. He will send signs in the quiet places. He will cause your heart to burn with a knowing that cannot be shaken. Trust that. Trust what God has planted deep within you. That stirring, that inner push, that persistent vision. It is not your imagination. It is revelation. It is God whispering, prepare yourself. The shift is now. And when that victory comes, and it will come, it won't just change your situation. It will change the atmosphere around you. It will shift how people speak to you. It will change how the enemy sees you, because suddenly you will not be known as the one who waited, but as the one whom God remembered, the one God restored, the one God raised up in power, not by might, not by the hand of man, but by His decree. What others called impossible, God called inevitable. What others said would take years, God did in moments. That's how God works. He does not need time. He needs faith. And your faith has qualified you. Your endurance has positioned you. Your silence has built your strength. You may not feel worthy, but you are ready. Not perfect, but prepared. Not flawless, but faithful. And that is all God requires. For He does not call the equipped. He equips the called. He does not choose based on status. He chooses based on surrender. And I speak this into your spirit. The delay did not destroy you. It developed you. The detour did not defeat you. It trained you. You didn't miss your moment. It was being prepared for you all along. And now God is aligning everything, people, places, resources, timing, to meet the destiny He planted in you from the beginning. Not just a blessing, but a breakthrough. Not just progress, but transformation. Not just a shift, but a sudden and irreversible elevation. But don't get comfortable in the blessing. Stay close to God. Stay in His presence. The same God who brings the shift is the one who sustains it. You cannot afford to drift now. You cannot afford to forget who brought you here. Stay humble. Stay hungry. Let your success never speak louder than your devotion. Let your gratitude be louder than your gain. Because true victory is not found in what you receive, it's in what you become. And you are becoming someone who reflects the light of God, someone who carries peace that surpasses understanding, someone who walks in strength but bows in reverence, someone who rises not to dominate but to serve. That is what happens when God shifts a person. Not just their life changes, but their nature is transformed. You will not just be blessed, you will be a blessing. There are moments ordained by God that interrupt the rhythm of delay and usher in a wave of unstoppable purpose. These moments are not marked by earthly clocks, but by divine decree. They are not announced by the voices of men, but by the whisper of eternity into your soul. And one of those moments is upon you now. You're not stepping into something random. You're walking into something sacred. God has not just allowed you to endure, He has called you to emerge. Emerge with clarity. Emerge with strength. Emerge with the authority that only comes from having walked through the fire with your faith still intact. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Many assume that because they are not moving visibly, God is not working actively. But God often works most powerfully in silence. He is not interested in shallow progress. He has invested in deep transformation. And that's exactly what this waiting season has done. It has stripped you of dependence on the approval of man. It has weaned your soul off distractions. It has taught you to hear God's voice in the storm and to stand still when others ran. That kind of faith cannot be taught. It is forged. And now God is ready to reveal what He has hidden for so long. You've been hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were not yet finished. God was shaping you in obscurity so that when the light hits you, you would not crumble under its weight. People see the glory, but they don't know the story. They see the fruit, but they didn't witness the pruning. But God saw it all. Every sacrifice you made in silence, Every time you said no to compromise, every moment you lifted your hands and said, God, I trust you. Even here, that trust has built something unshakable inside you. And now the shift has come. The waiting is being exchanged for walking. The silence is being traded for strategy. God is opening the way that no man could ever shut. You must now walk with a new level of awareness. The shift that God is releasing requires sensitivity. You cannot afford to be distracted. You cannot afford to entertain confusion. You must walk with your ears tuned to heaven. Every step must be guided not by ambition, not by emotion, but by divine instruction. The world will offer shortcuts, platforms, praise, but you are not called to follow noise. You are called to follow the presence of God. And His presence doesn't always lead where the crowd is. Sometimes it leads you into quiet places, unfamiliar paths, dry valleys, but it always ends in victory. Your steps must be governed by surrender. Not every open door is God's door. Not every opportunity is divine. Discernment is your protection in this season. Just because the victory is coming suddenly doesn't mean you abandon caution. The same God who is releasing favor is also calling you to walk carefully, humbly, and prayerfully, because with greater influence comes greater temptation. With greater visibility comes greater warfare. But God has not brought you this far to let you fall. Now He will shield you, strengthen you, and guide you as long as you stay submitted. This is a season where God is redeeming time. Years that felt wasted are being restored in moments. Opportunities you thought you missed are returning multiplied. God is not bound by the rules of this world. He can reverse what looks irreversible. He can build on ruins. He can bring water from a rock. He can make the barren land overflow with abundance. What looked like an ending was really a beginning in disguise. What felt like a breakdown was a setup for breakthrough. And now you will see how the pieces fit. You will see how the losses made room for something greater. You will see why God said, wait. Don't let bitterness take root in this transition. You cannot carry anger, resentment, or unforgiveness into your next level. That is spiritual poison. You must release it completely. Not for them, but for you. Because what God has prepared is too holy to be contaminated by old pain. The shift you are stepping into requires clean hands and a pure heart. Let go of what they did. Let go of who left. Let go of what didn't happen. God is doing something new. He is writing a new chapter, and it won't read like the last one. He is lifting you not because you deserve it, but because He is faithful. And in His faithfulness, He does not just give you what you expect, He gives you what is best. You are about to walk in places your name was never supposed to reach. People who dismissed you will have to watch as God elevates you. But your goal is not to prove them wrong. It is to prove God right. Your rise is not about revenge. It is about purpose. Let your posture remain one of gratitude. Let your heart stay bowed before the throne of the one who opened every door. Because when people see you now, they must see not just success, but the hand of God. Let your life be living proof that waiting on God is never wasted, that those who trust Him will never be disappointed, that His timing is always, always perfect. God is sending a wind, fresh, fierce, and holy. It is the kind of wind that breaks down walls and lifts the weary. the kind of wind that signals movement in the realm of the Spirit. That wind is headed your way, and when it comes, things will move that haven't moved in years. Hearts will shift, closed doors will open, delayed dreams will awaken. The very atmosphere will respond to the command of God. And in that moment, you must not hesitate, you must not doubt. You must walk through that door as if it was made just for you, because it was. This is not the time to play small. This is not the time to question your worth. God has already chosen you. He has already called you. He has already set your feet on a path that leads to greatness, not for the applause of man, but for the fulfillment of divine assignment. You are not just called to succeed, you are called to lead. And true leadership begins in the secret place, in the place of prayer, in the place where no one sees but God. That is where the shift began, and that is where the victory will be sustained. So hold your head high, stand firm, speak life, walk boldly. The God who started this journey with you is not finished. He is still writing, still shaping, still unfolding the masterpiece of your life. And the part you are about to walk into this new season, this sudden victory, is not the end. It's the beginning of a legacy, a testimony, a divine manifestation of what God can do when someone refuses to give up, refuses to bow to fear, and chooses to believe even in the darkest night. This is your moment, not because of luck, not because of coincidence, but because of God. He is the reason. He is the source. He is the author. He is the finisher. And what He has begun in your life, He will finish with glory. So now stand still and recognize this truth. God has not forgotten you. Every silent season, every tear cried in secret, every prayer uttered when no one else was watching, God heard it all. And now He is answering, not with a whisper, but with a divine shift that will speak louder than any delay ever did. The waiting was not your defeat, it was your preparation. This unexpected triumph didn't come by accident. It is the fruit of your trust when trust felt impossible, of your faith when nothing added up, and of your steadfastness when leaving would have been simpler. Now is the moment God turns your mourning into momentum, and what was delayed now moves with divine speed. You're not being elevated for applause or recognition. You're being raised so His light can reach places long cloaked in darkness. When others notice the change, when they watch you rise, let every testimony point to one name, God. Let your triumph declare not your achievements, but who God has always been. Step forward now, not timid, not boastful, but with humble boldness and steady confidence in the One who is turning your season of waiting into a season of victory. From silence to song, from hiding to influence, the change is happening. The change is from heaven, and the change is here, because God has spoken. My friend, if these words are reaching you right now, it is not by coincidence. Something is already stirring deep within your spirit, a stirring that refuses to accept the weight of struggle, the burden of pressure, or the cycle of just scraping by. That inner stirring is holy. That quiet voice in your heart is no illusion. It is the very call of God. Understand this. When God is preparing to release a miracle, especially one as transforming as a financial breakthrough, He first shakes apart everything in your life that isn't anchored in faith. So if lately it feels like the ground beneath you has been trembling, if your finances resemble dry bones scattered in the desert, then rejoice, because that is the very place God loves to turn into abundance. God is on the verge of pouring out a financial miracle. And when you stand ready to receive, your life will be forever changed. With God, there is no shortage. He never runs empty. He does not work within human limits. The same God who created the heavens and the earth is the God who washes over your life. He knows the weight you carry. He knows the bills that stack up like a mountain. He knows the tears you cry when no one is watching. You've tried, you've pushed, you've stretched every dollar, but now God is stepping in. Not because you begged long enough, but because your faith has stirred heaven. God is not moved by emotion. God is moved by faith. And when you dare to believe that God can do the impossible, you unlock something powerful. And you may be saying, "But I don't see a way out." That's exactly where miracles are born. Where man sees no way, God creates a highway. The very areas where you've suffered lack will become the very areas where God shows His glory. Don't you know that God loves to bless His faithful servants? God honors those who walk uprightly. When you keep walking in integrity, when you continue to sow goodness even in scarcity, when you resist bitterness while walking through lack, God takes notice. God is not blind to your sacrifice. God is not deaf to your cry. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being prepared for the release. The world may try to tell you to rely on your credit score, your connections, your job security, but God is your source, not your boss, not your clients, not the government. When God decides to bless you financially, nothing on earth can stop it. No debt collector can reverse it. No delay can deny it. God has already seen what's coming, and He has already appointed your provision. The question is not whether God can bless you. The question is whether your faith can handle it. Some of you have been operating in survival mode for so long that you've stopped expecting breakthrough. You've adjusted to the wilderness. But hear this: God did not call you to survive forever. He called you to prosper under His hand. There is something about financial hardship that tests the soul. It humbles, it stretches, it exposes what we truly believe about God. And yet, it also prepares us. God never sends a miracle to a heart that isn't ready to carry it with gratitude and responsibility. That's why the season of lack is not punishment, it's preparation. And God allows the famine before the rain not to crush you, but to train you. When you remain faithful in the dry season, when you praise God even when your pockets are empty, when you choose to give even when it hurts, then heaven begins to open. God sees you holding on when everything in the natural tells you to quit. And that kind of faith, raw, relentless, unshaken faith, moves the hand of God. Right now, even as you hear these words, things are shifting in the unseen. You can't always see what God is doing, but trust that He is working. Behind the curtain of your struggle, God is organizing divine appointments. He is opening doors no man can shut. He is speaking your name in rooms you haven't even entered. He is softening the hearts of people who will bless you without even knowing why. God is commanding resources to find you. He is ordering favor to chase you down. He is causing opportunities to be magnetically drawn to you. But you must believe it not with a faint hope, but with fierce certainty. Your breakthrough is not in the hands of man. It is in the hands of God. And let me tell you something powerful. God does not release miracles based on your bank account. God releases miracles based on your belief account. If you're bankrupt in faith, you'll never cash in on the blessing. But if your heart is overflowing with expectation, if you wake up every morning declaring that God is your provider, then your miracle is on the way. Faith is the currency of heaven. When you stop speaking defeat, When you stop rehearsing your lack and start declaring God's abundance, everything begins to change. Don't wait for the miracle to manifest to start praising. Praise in advance. Thank God like it's already done. Worship Him like the debt is already canceled. Lift your hands like the check has already been written. God is not a liar. When He says He will supply all your needs, He means every single one. Not just enough to get by, but more than enough. Enough to pay your bills, enough to support your family, enough to give generously, enough to fund dreams, enough to bless others. God's abundance is not about greed, it's about impact. When God blesses you financially, it's not just to elevate your lifestyle, it's to elevate your purpose. You've been asking for provision, but God is preparing you for a position of influence, a position of stewardship, a position of overflow, where your blessing becomes a blessing to others. Now hear this. The miracle God is about to release will come in a way you did not expect. It may not arrive through your job. It may not show up through a promotion. It might not even come through someone you know. God loves to surprise His people. The blessing may come through a stranger, through a sudden idea, through an unexpected gift, through a business you haven't even started yet. Don't limit the way God can move. Don't try to predict the form of your miracle. Just prepare your heart to receive. Keep your spirit open. Keep your hands lifted. Keep your words aligned with faith. There is a wind of change blowing in your direction. What once was closed is about to be opened. What once was delayed is about to be released. What once felt cursed is about to be reversed. But you must do your part. Guard your tongue. Speak life. Refuse to entertain fear. Speak what you believe, not what you see. Speak the promise, not the problem. Declare that God is making a way even when your bank app says zero. Declare that God is multiplying what little you have. Because when God steps into your situation, little becomes more than enough. But He's not releasing a financial miracle just to rescue you. He is releasing it to position you. You are not meant to live paycheck to paycheck. You are not meant to just get by. You are not meant to be crushed by the weight of debt. You are meant to rise. You are meant to overflow. You are meant to be the lender, not the borrower. That is not a fantasy, it is the promise of God. But you must stop settling for less. You must stop settling for less. Stop adjusting to struggle as your identity. Poverty is not your portion. Scarcity is not your destiny. You belong to God, and where God dwells, lack cannot remain. Some of you have been faithful in giving, in serving, in sacrificing. You've sown in tears. You've sown in silence. You've given when no one else saw, and now God is about to reward you openly. There is a public blessing coming for your private obedience. Don't give up now. Don't walk away from your harvest just because the clouds haven't broken yet. The rain is coming. The heavens are about to pour. And when God opens the windows of heaven, what comes down will overflow in such a way that you won't have room to contain it. You have to give some away. You'll have to share the miracle because it will be too big for you alone. You don't have to manipulate, beg, or chase after people to be blessed. You only have to chase after God. When you pursue God with all your heart, everything else will begin to chase you. The money, the resources, the opportunities, they will follow you. Not because you are seeking them, but because you are seeking the one who owns them. God owns it all. Every bank, every business, every treasure, every door. And if He owns it, He can release it. He can release it suddenly. He can release it miraculously. He can release it abundantly. And He will if you keep the faith. There's no need to envy anyone. There's no need to compare your journey to someone else's. What God has for you is tailor-made. You don't have to compete. You don't have to copy. You don't have to compromise. Just be faithful. Just stay obedient. Just keep honoring God in the little, and the much will come. The financial miracle you need is not far off. It is closer than you think. But your words must align. Your heart must believe. Your actions must reflect your expectation. The enemy wants you to stay in despair. He wants you to believe that things will never change. He wants you to believe that you'll always be behind. But the devil is a liar. God's word is truth, and the truth says that God will open His good treasure and bless all the work of your hands. The truth says you are the head and not the tail. The truth says you shall lack nothing. But you must stand on that truth. You must declare it even when your reality looks the opposite. That's where faith lives, in the tension between the promise and the problem. Don't despise the small beginnings, the small salary, the struggling business, the tight budget, because when God breathes on it, it multiplies. He fed thousands with 5 loaves and 2 fish, not because the supply was great, but because the surrender was. God doesn't need a lot to do a lot. He just needs your faith. He just needs your willingness to believe when everything says impossible. Miracles are not birthed in comfort. They are born in chaos. They are released in times of desperation. So if you're in the middle of a financial storm, you're in the perfect position for a financial miracle. Let others laugh. Let others doubt. Let others walk away. But you stay rooted in belief. Stay anchored in trust. Because when the miracle manifests, everyone will know it was God. No one else will get the credit. No one else will be able to claim responsibility. It will be undeniable that the hand of God touched your finances. And when it happens, don't keep it to yourself. Testify, encourage others, be a vessel. Use what God gives you to lift someone else. Because the real purpose of the financial miracle is not just comfort, it's kingdom impact. God blesses you so you can bless. God provides so you can pour. God gives so you can give. If you could only see what God has already prepared for you, your heart would leap with praise right now. If your eyes could pierce the veil of the unseen, you would not be anxious another day of your life. God is not a distant observer of your hardship. He is the master architect of your comeback. The very hands that shape the mountains and fill the oceans are the same hands that are now reaching into your life to shift, supply, and restore. God does not simply repair what's broken. He replaces it with something far greater. You've been asking God for a way to survive, but God is planning a way for you to thrive. There are seasons when God withholds just to show you that He's the source, not the supply. When the paycheck fails, when the support dries up, when the plans collapse, that is when you learn to depend not on man, not on systems, but on the voice and provision of God alone. And those who depend on God will never be ashamed. Those who trust in His plan, though it tarries, will see it flourish in due time. Delay is not denial. It is divine refinement. God is not late. God is never behind. He waits until the soil of your life is ready to carry the weight of the harvest. You may be surrounded by chaos, but chaos is no match for the decree of God. When He speaks, doors swing open. When He commands, resources relocate. When He decides, nothing can resist His will. And right now, God is speaking into the dry places of your life. Where there was lack, there shall be provision. Where there was debt, there shall be release. Where there was despair, there shall be dancing. God is about to turn mourning into movement, poverty into purpose, emptiness into overflow. But the miracle will begin not in your wallet. It will begin in your heart. The heart that believes God for the impossible will never settle for the ordinary. You were not made to crawl through life begging for scraps. You are made to walk upright in honor, carrying the light of faith in a dark and doubting world. You were created to reflect the abundance of God, not just in words, but in your life, your choices, your giving, and your joy. And God takes pleasure in blessing those who live with clean hands and a pure heart. You don't have to manipulate to prosper. You don't have to compromise to gain. When your integrity remains intact, God will elevate you without the help of man. The financial miracle you've been praying for will not come by copying what others do. It will come by walking faithfully in what God has asked you to do. Maybe it's time to build what God whispered to you years ago. Maybe it's time to release that idea, that skill, that vision He placed within you. God never gives a dream without placing provision somewhere along the path. But provision always responds to obedience. The quicker you obey, the faster the doors begin to open. It's not enough to believe for a miracle. You must walk toward it. You must act in faith even when the natural circumstances argue against it. Every act of obedience is a seed. Every step of trust is a step toward the miraculous. And when the ground is saturated with your surrender, the harvest cannot be delayed. God is not just sending you money. He is sending you transformation. He is changing how you think about wealth, how you handle increase, how you trust in the unseen over the visible. Because if your mind is still in bondage, your hands cannot hold a blessing. You must be transformed internally before you can carry the weight of the miracle externally. God is not just preparing the blessing for you, He is preparing you for the blessing. Do not confuse your current location with your final destination. Just because you're walking through a dry land does not mean you will stay there. This is a crossing over moment. The pressure, the stretching, the stripping, it is all part of your passage. God is leading you out of captivity and into freedom, not just spiritual freedom, but financial freedom. But it begins with alignment. Are your values aligned with God's principles? Can God trust you with increase? Can you steward overflow without becoming arrogant, without forgetting who lifted you, without hoarding what was meant to be shared? The miracle is not just about you, it's about who will be blessed through you. There are people connected to your obedience. There are families that will eat because you chose to walk in faith. There are communities that will rise because you refuse to quit. God is making you into a vessel, not a container. You are not meant to store blessings. You are meant to pour them. And the more you pour, the more He will fill. As long as you keep your hands open, God will keep the flow running. The moment you start clenching what He gave, the stream slows. Because the goal is not just provision, it's participation in God's purpose. Do not be surprised when the miracle looks small in the beginning. A financial breakthrough often begins as a whisper, a nudge, a tiny door. Do not despise the day of small things. What begins as a trickle will soon become a flood. What starts with one opportunity will lead to many. What looks like just enough will stretch into more than enough when God is in it. But will you honor the small? Will you steward the seed before you demand the fruit? Because God watches how you handle the seed before He releases the harvest. Now is the time to prepare, not just to wish. Prepare for the breakthrough. Clean up your habits. Organize your finances. Pay what you owe. Walk in integrity with the little you have, and God will trust you with the greater. You cannot walk into a miracle with old mindsets. You cannot carry new blessings with dirty hands. The miracle is holy. It must be received with reverence. If God is about to release wealth, then He is also about to test your heart. He will test your patience. He will test your motives. He will test your priorities. And once He sees your heart as pure, the gates of heaven will open. Some of you have cried at night over unpaid bills, over business losses, over broken financial dreams. But God has bottled every tear, and those tears are not wasted. They are watering the very ground where your breakthrough will spring up. Every prayer you whispered when no one else listened, God heard it. Every seed you gave when you barely had enough for yourself, God saw it. Every time you chose to trust instead of panic, God recorded it. And when God remembers, He does not just repay, He restores. He restores time, He restores health, He restores hope, and He restores wealth. This is not about chasing material things. It's about living in the fullness of what God designed for you. You are not here to be a slave to systems. You are here to walk in dominion, governed not by fear, but by faith. And faith doesn't just ask, it expects. Faith doesn't just wish, it prepares. Faith doesn't shrink, lack, it rises with praise. So rise up today. Shake the dust of despair off your mind. Speak life to your situation. Declare boldly that you serve a God who owns it all, who releases in abundance, and who withholds nothing good from those who walk uprightly. Let others worry about recessions, inflation, or economic collapse. Your provision is not tied to earthly markets. Your source is not limited by human systems. You belong to the one who commands the clouds, who multiplies in famine, who feeds in drought, who enriches with purpose. If God says He will provide, then nothing on earth or under it can stop what's coming. And what's coming will be so profound, so sudden, so abundant, that your only response will be to fall on your knees in awe and say, "Only God could have done this." There is a spiritual principle that cannot be ignored. What you honor, you attract. And if you honor God as your provider, not with lip service, but with your whole heart, your decisions, your financial habits, your discipline, then God will respond with abundance. You must understand this clearly. God is not moved by noise, but by sincerity. God is not swayed by emotion, but by faithfulness. If your heart is aligned with trust, if your spirit is soaked in obedience, then even before you ask, God is already dispatched what you need. The moment you align your soul with the will of God, things begin to shift. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. There is nothing casual about the blessings of God. What He releases is purposeful. God does not send overflow for waste. He sends it for worship. If your hands are ready to use the blessing for good, to heal, to build, to lift others out of bondage, then you are ready to receive. But if your desires are still driven by ego, by competition, by vanity, then wait. Because God will not pour His treasures into a vessel that leaks pride. God is too wise to bless you beyond your ability to carry it with humility. That is why some blessings delay. Not because God says no, but because He says, not yet. But when God says now, no gate of hell can keep it back. When God commands release, every barrier must fall. When God calls for increase, it comes running. And I tell you now, as surely as the dawn follows the night, the now of God is approaching your life. There's a holy stirring in the air, a divine energy moving through the silence. God is assembling everything required for your breakthrough. People, places, timing, ideas, resources, it is all coming together, quietly and powerfully, like the tide building beneath the surface. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's inactive. Trust the movement you cannot see. Some of you have been planted in dark places, hidden, buried, unseen. But remember, before the harvest bursts forth, the seed is buried. The darkness is not your end, it is your preparation. It's where roots grow. It's where strength is formed. God does His best work in the secret places. While others forget you, overlook you, pass by you, God is investing in you. He is watering your soul. He is speaking purpose into your waiting. And when it is time, He will call you forth, not weak, not weary, but ready. Ready to receive what He has stored up. Ready to handle what He has held back. Ready to walk into the fullness of what He has been crafting behind the scenes. So I urge you, purify your expectations. Don't just expect a paycheck. Don't just hope for a bonus. Expect something divine. Expect supernatural turnaround. Expect wealth that has no human explanation. Expect open doors that weren't even on your map. Expect land, property, access, favor, ideas, and partnerships that elevate you beyond your preparation. When God gives, He gives completely. He doesn't hand out crumbs, He sets tables. He doesn't give you just a drop, He opens the floodgates, but He watches to see what kind of steward you are. Not when the abundance comes, but now while you're still in the pressing, will you be faithful when no one notices? Will you be grateful when things still look tight? Will you give when you'd rather keep? Will you trust when logic says otherwise? Because those are the moments that qualify you. That's the test before the testimony. God does not elevate without examining, and when He examines you and finds you faithful, He not only blesses you, He elevates you into a new dimension of spiritual authority. Listen carefully. The financial miracle that's coming is not just about money, it's about territory. God is giving you room to expand, room to create, room to dream without fear, room to build without debt. He's giving you the power to shape your environment, the power to say no to oppression, the power to help others break free from generational lack. God's miracle is bigger than your need. It's connected to your calling. This is not charity from heaven. This is an appointment. This is an assignment. This is divine empowerment. But beware. When the miracle comes, it will attract watchers. Some will celebrate. Some will question. Some will criticize. But you must remember, it is not their miracle to understand. It is God's response to your faith. Let no one's opinion shake your gratitude. Let no voice distract your focus. Stay centered, stay prayerful, stay humble. For the same God who gives is the same God who watches how you carry what He gave. And the more wisely you carry it, the more He will entrust to you. Be careful not to make an idol of the blessing. The miracle is a gift, not a God. The provision must never replace the provider in your heart. Always return to God with thanksgiving. Let gratitude be your default setting. Gratitude expands capacity. It invites more. It protects the heart. It positions you for sustained favor. God is not just looking to bless you once. He wants to make you a fountain, and the fountain never runs dry because its source is constant. You may not feel worthy. You may think your past disqualifies you. But God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for surrender. If your heart is open, if your hands are clean, if your soul is yielded, then no mistake, no failure, no shortcoming can cancel what God is about to release. Mercy opens the door. Faith walks through it. Obedience builds the house, and trust keeps the windows open for more. So prepare your home, prepare your mind, prepare your accounts. Get ready, not because of hype, but because of holiness. The miracle is sacred. The blessing is weighty. It is not just currency, it is responsibility. It is not just income, it is influence. Handle it well, and God will increase it. Ignore it, and it will pass you by. This is not the time to doubt. This is not the time to delay. This is the time to dig deep, stand tall, and speak with boldness. God is my source. God is my supply. God is my security. And God is about to do what only God can do. The drought is ending. The storm is passing. The dry ground is about to bloom. Where there was barrenness, there will be bounty. Where there was begging, there will be blessing. But the one who receives this miracle is not the loudest. It is the most faithful. It is the one who remained upright in the silence. It is the one who kept praising when the doors were still shut. It is the one who trusted God more than the numbers. That one, yes, that one will walk into the miracle with holy confidence, knowing this was never about chance, never about luck, never about man. It was always about God. Let every voice of fear be silenced right now. Let every whisper of doubt be cast down like dust under your feet. Because when God declares a thing, it is established. When God speaks provision into your life, the heavens respond with power. This is not the time to tremble. It is the time to trust. You are not standing on shaky ground. You are standing firmly upon the unshakable promises of God. And when your heart comes into alignment with that truth, the impossible must surrender, and miracles begin to unfold right before your eyes. Some of you have walked through seasons so crushing, so weighty, so humiliating, that you started to believe lack was your destiny. But listen closely. Scarcity is not your portion. Endless struggle is not your inheritance. Living trapped in cycles of barely enough is not the last word God has spoken over you. He is calling you out of that pattern. He is calling you into overflow, not to inflate your pride, but to empower your purpose. When the chains of financial fear fall away, you are released to step fully into the mission God designed for your life. There is a great difference between prosperity for self-indulgence and prosperity for divine purpose. God does not increase you just to place you on a throne of ease. He prospers you so you can serve, so you can build, so you can shatter the chains binding those still stumbling in darkness. When God lifts you, He places a mantle on your life, not of superiority, but of responsibility. You are being raised up for something greater than money itself. You are being entrusted with power that can shape the destiny of generations. Do not take that lightly. The enemy has tried to convince you that what you have is all you'll ever have. But the devil is a liar. God is the author of increase. And not just increase in number, but increase in influence, in wisdom, in reach, in purpose. One touch from God and everything can change. One word from God and the floodgates open. But that word must be received with faith, not filtered through fear. Do not reduce God's promise to fit your experience. Stretch your expectation to match His power. God has never been limited by your past. His supply is not measured by your income. His generosity is not based on what's in your hand, but on what's in His. You may not see it yet, but heaven is already aligning the pieces. God is not working on your timeline. He's working on your transformation. If you had received the blessing earlier, you may not have been ready. But now, after the trials, after the pruning, after the lonely nights and painful prayers, now your spirit is ripe for reward. You've been refined by fire. You've been taught by silence. You've been humbled by hardship. And now you are prepared not just to receive the miracle, but to protect it, preserve it, and multiply it for God's glory. So keep your hands clean, keep your motives pure, keep your lips speaking truth, because this miracle is not for show, it's for sanctification. It is to prove not to others but to you that God has always been faithful. Even in delay, even in the dry season, even in the hidden places, God was preparing you for what He's about to release. And when it comes, it will not be subtle. It will not be small. It will not be something that can be explained by talent or timing. It will be the kind of miracle that makes people stand back and say, "Surely, this was the doing of God." Let your faith rise higher than your fears. Let your praise echo louder than your complaints. God is not finished. You may have felt like your time has passed. Your opportunity slipped away. Your door was closed. But God does not operate by man's clock. He restores lost years. He reopens forgotten doors. He revives dead dreams. And when He chooses to move, He doesn't need permission. He overrides the rules. He bends the systems. He shifts entire structures just to deliver what belongs to His faithful one. You've been sowing in faith. Now it's time to reap in joy. But don't just wait, worship. Don't just look, listen. God may not shout, but He always speaks. In quiet whispers, in nudges of wisdom, in divine insight. He will guide you to the place of breakthrough. Follow Him, not your feelings. Move with obedience, not impulse. Stay rooted in faith, and nothing will be able to uproot the blessing once it arrives. And when it arrives, and it will arrive, don't reduce it to money. See the miracle for what it truly is. Evidence of God's hand on your life. Confirmation that your labor was not in vain. Proof that the silent prayers you whispered in your weakest moments reached the throne of the Almighty. God heard you. God saw you. God remembered you. And now God is about to reward you. Not because of how loud you prayed, but because of how deeply you believe. So walk like it's already done. Live like the breakthrough has already been released. Speak as though the harvest is already in your hands. Because when your behavior matches your belief, you attract the blessing. This is not manipulation. This is alignment. God honors faith that acts. He rewards hearts that move with expectancy. The ones who prepare the room before the guest arrives, those are the ones who will see the door swing open wide. You are not begging God. You are standing in His promise. You are not pleading for crumbs. You are claiming what has already been written. Your miracle was crafted before you were born. The provision was planted before you ever had the need, and now the time has come. The pressure you've endured has birthed the capacity you need. The breaking you went through has prepared the blessing you're about to receive. The valley has carved out a deeper place for the river of God's abundance to flow. So open your hands, open your heart, open your mouth, and declare it boldly. God is my source, and I will not lack. God is my provider, and I will not fear. God is my sustainer, and I will not break. What God has started, He will finish. What God has promised, He will deliver. What God has spoken, He will bring to pass. And now, stand firm. Expect with holy boldness. Worship with unwavering confidence, because the miracle is not coming. It's already in motion. God is about to release a financial miracle that will rewrite your story, reshape your future, and reintroduce you to the world as one favored by the hand of the Almighty. There comes a moment in every life where the walls close in, when the pressure becomes unbearable, when the weight of debt, delay, and disappointment crushes every ounce of strength. And in that moment, God whispers, "Now watch what I will do." God doesn't just show up when it's easy. God shows up when it's impossible. When the experts have counted you out, when the numbers don't add up, when the door has been shut for so long it's rusted at the hinges. That is where God steps in and makes a way through the wilderness, not by might, not by human effort, but by divine intervention. Some of you have been relying on your own hands for too long. You've been stretching, struggling, overworking, exhausting every method known to man. But now God is calling you to surrender. Not your work ethic, but your worry. Not your diligence, but your dependence. God doesn't bless chaos, He blesses order. And the greatest order you can establish in your life is putting God first in your heart, first in your finances, and first in your plan. When you do that, you don't have to chase the miracle. It chases you. You don't have to hunt it down. It will locate you by divine design. This is not the time to panic. This is the time to posture yourself in expectation. The financial miracle you need is not locked behind 1,000 keys. It is sitting just on the other side of your obedience. God responds to faith, not fear. God honors sacrifice, not selfishness. God multiplies what is placed in His hands, not what is clutched tightly in ours. That's why the enemy attacks your giving, your generosity, your mindset, because he knows the open hand is the hand God fills. And if he can get you to close your hand in fear, he can block the flow. But you are not called to live close. You are not called to shrink. You are not called to operate in fear. You are a child of purpose, a soul born for divine overflow, a vessel chosen for impact. God has not forgotten what you've endured. The nights you laid awake worrying over how to pay the next bill. The days you put on a brave face while carrying the burden of lack. The sacrifices you made silently. The giving you did secretly. God saw it all. And every seed you sowed, every prayer you lifted, every tear you wept in trust, it has built a case in heaven. And now the time has come for God to respond. Do not expect this miracle to look like man's methods. When God provides, He often bypasses the expected. He breaks the rules of natural economics. He doesn't operate in hourly wages. He operates in heavenly waves. One moment of God's favor is worth more than 10 years of labor. One divine idea can wipe out a lifetime of debt. One open door from God can bring such swift acceleration that even your enemies will stand in awe. But you must prepare your life for that kind of release. Examine your stewardship. Have you honored what you already have? Have you been faithful with little so God can trust you with much? Have you resisted the temptation to compare your journey with others? Because the miracle God is preparing for you is not copied, it's custom. It's not left over, it's designed. Your path may look different, but the promise remains. God will supply. God will restore. God will enlarge. But your eyes must remain on Him. Not on the clock, not on the crowd, not on the crisis. Many people miss the miracle because they grow weary in the waiting. They start strong, but they fizzle when time tests their trust. But the reward is not for the one who starts with passion, it is for the one who endures with faith. The financial miracle God is about to release is not just for the sprinting, it's for the steadfast. Those who refuse to complain. Those who didn't cave in to fear. Those who kept honoring God when the cupboards were empty and the bank account spoke of scarcity. God is about to reward the unseen resilience. Let your heart be lifted today. Let your spirit be revived, because you are not abandoned, you are not overlooked. God is not ignoring your needs. He is organizing your increase. Even now, divine connections are forming. Even now, resources are shifting hands. Even now, God is assigning angels to bring breakthrough into your atmosphere. You don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to believe it until you see it. And when the miracle comes, and it will come, it will break every generational barrier. It will shatter every label of lack placed upon your name. You will no longer be known as the one who almost made it, but as the one God favored in the face of the impossible. Your story will not end in survival. It will rise in significance. The struggle was not in vain. The delay was not denial. It was preparation. And now God is about to pour into your life so abundantly that it will overflow into others. You will not only pay off what's owed, you will fund what is needed. You will support the dreams of others. You will become the answer to someone else's prayer. This is how God moves, not just to bless you, but to transform you, to turn the borrower into the lender, to turn the overlooked into the overflowed, to take the hidden and raise them to a place of honor. But you must never forget the journey. Never forget who carried you. Never forget that every good thing comes from God. When the wealth arrives, let your worship grow louder. When the breakthrough appears, let your humility go deep. When the blessing expands, let your hands become more generous. Because what God is doing in your life is not a moment. It's a mantle. And with that mantle comes responsibility to use the resources wisely, to pour into the lives of others, to bless with purpose, to give with discernment, to remain dependent on God no matter how much He gives. That is how the miracle stays. Not just for a season, but for a lifetime. Lift your head, raise your expectations, align your actions, and declare with boldness, God is faithful, God is near, God is releasing my miracle. I will walk in it, I will honor it, I will multiply it, and I will glorify God through it. Because this is far from the finish line, it is the beginning of a brand new story. A story defined not by merely enduring, but by true impact, not by lack, but by abundant provision from above. Prepare yourself, for the hand of God is ready to act on your behalf. So keep pressing forward, keep sowing, keep believing. The breakthrough in your finances is not a dream, it is a divine guarantee. And once God declares His word, it cannot fail. It will fulfill the purpose for which it was spoken. The atmosphere is changing. The heavens are alive with movement, and the outpouring has already begun. Stay prepared, stay alert, stay steadfast, for when God acts, everything shifts in an instant. And when that instant arrives, your world will be renewed, not only for this moment, but as a legacy for generations yet to come.